What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday and happy weekend. I can't believe I'm here doing a classic pay-per-view watch-along going head-to-head with the 20th anniversary of Impact Wrestling, or TNA, who was holding their Slammiversary pay-per-view head-to-head with us. So I want to offer an apology right off the bat to Impact Wrestling for completely screwing up their pay-per-view buys. Because if people know I'm up here, they're probably going to watch me, instead of them. I'm just trying to be honest here. So I apologize, Impact, for any damage that we might do to your pay-per-view buy rate tonight. But this is usually what we do on Sunday nights. We watch classic pay-per-views from the past. We hang out, we chat, we have a good time. And since I really don't watch Impact Wrestling, nothing at all against the promotion or the men and women who compete there, I just really don't watch it. If I started watching Impact Wrestling and covering it, I would have to do YouTube full-time, and I'm not quite there yet. So some things aren't able to be covered by me all the time. So Impact I don't really watch, and I got nothing else to do tonight, and I'm used to hanging out with you guys anyway. So I decided to last minute come up with a pay-per-view that we could watch, and maybe we could even monitor Slammiversary at the same time. Maybe some of you are triple monitoring tonight. Maybe some of you got King of the Ring 98 with me in the middle and Slammiversary on the other side. Who knows? So for those of you who are eyeballing the pay-per-view tonight, eyeballing the results, or maybe even ordering it and watching it, feel free to keep us updated in the comments or in the chat here. I took a look at the card. It looks like a pretty good show. A lot of people have been singing the praises of Impact lately for how they've been doing, considering, the turmoil that Impact has been through over the last, 20 years. For them to still be hanging on and putting on pretty decent quality content with some really good workers there, that's good news for them. So we're going to be up here anyway just to hang out. There was even a chance we were going to be going against NBA Finals Game 7 tonight as well. But, of course, Golden State wrapped up that series last week, and there is no Game 7 to be had. But if that was the case, I was thinking about putting the game on, and we would just watch everything. So as of last night, I couldn't even decide if I was going to do a watch-along. And even today, along as late as 1 o'clock local time here, it's 5 o'clock now, 4 hours ago, I still didn't know if I was going to do a watch-along or not. But when I mentioned something on Twitter, you guys were like, hell yeah, do one. So then I had to think of a show. And I'm like, well, let's think about King of the Rings or Bash at the Beach. I usually like to keep whatever watch-along we do consistent with whatever month we're in. Look back at pay-per-views from this time period. We did King of the Ring at 1993 last week. And I almost decided to do King of the Ring 1994, but I figured if we're going to be going up against Slammiversary, I better have a show that's very recognizable to a lot of fans. And I think we can all agree that the Hell in a Cell match between Mankind and Undertaker, every single wrestling fan alive knows about this show. So this might be a thumbnail or a video title that'll catch someone's eye and help us out with the audience, since we're going head-to-head with a pay-per-view. And also, another reason why I picked this show is because the wrestling world lost Timmy White. And you guys all know when we do these watch-alongs, I mark out for Tim White. He's my favorite all-time WWE referee. He was a pretty big fixture on WWE TV for a good portion of my life, over half of my wrestling life, 80s, 90s, and a little bit of the 2000s, when he would referee a little bit, and he would run all the segments at his friendly tap. They did the suicide lunches or whatever that shit was in like the mid-2000s with him. And I always really enjoyed hearing Tim White tell stories, road stories of when he was the agent or the handler, basically, of Andre the Giant, and the relationship that the two of them had. And everybody in wrestling always just had wonderful things to say about Tim White. Not a mean bone in his body, one of the nicest, kindest, sweetest individuals in the world, and he was always my favorite referee in WWE. So condolences out to Tim White's family and his friends and all the people in the business he worked with. And he was the referee for Undertaker and Mankind's Hell in the Cell match, which is another reason why I kind of chose this show this evening. So we're going to jump into it here. In the meantime, you guys know how this works. We watch all of the watch-alongs here on Peacock. So go over to your cock, pull up the King of the Ring tab under WWE. You want to look for Season 6, Episode 1. And the runtime, according to Peacock, is 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 36 seconds. So if you're watching on the WWE Network outside of the U.S. or on some other platform, you can still sync up, but it just might not be perfect. So here in just a couple of minutes, we'll do a countdown from 3. We'll all hit play together, and the timer above my head will start running, and it'll just continue to run throughout the night. So if we experience any interruptions, any buffering, anything like that, just keep following the timer. Just sync up to the timer, and everything will be fine. Let me cruise to the top of the chat, say hello to everyone, knock out any super chats that are in here, and then we will be hitting play to watch some crazy show back in 1998. We've also been on a 1998 kick And I didn't really think about that because I was trying to scramble to put together a show pretty quick. But if you remember, back in April, we did Unforgiven 1998. I was at that show, first ever Inferno match. Then in May, we did Over the Edge 1998. So here we are in June doing King of the Ring. So we've done 3 consecutive April, May, June pay-per-views in 1998 from WWE. And I really have a good feeling that we're probably going to do a SummerSlam in 1998 as well. Some of you guys have mentioned that one. 1991 and 1998 are both on my list for this summer for us to do a watch-along of. And we're going to have to do that next month since SummerSlam is in late July this year. So we'll probably be doing Highway to Hell as well. So after Highway to Hell, we're going to take a break from 1998 for a while, and we're going to try to focus on other years. But I almost did Bash at the Beach 94, Hogan's debut when he beat Ric Flair. Thought about King of the Ring 94, but ultimately settled here on King of the Ring 1998. Good to see Jet the Hawk, Destiny, and Devon Ricks, and We Are Pro Wrestling, Monkey Wrenches, and people I like to ask questions to are in here. Jay Cherry in the house. We got Ben Espiniza. We've got Tatanani. I think I got you already. Sometimes when I say a name, I forget if I said it or not. How Wheezy, very good to see you, my friend. David Brown as well. Andy Linnell is in the house. Glad that your mom is feeling much better, David. You gave us an update on that yesterday on the podcast, by the way. So I'm really glad to hear she's doing better. And yeah, this King of the Ring is going to be nuts. And I got a lot of fun stories to tell about this one. So y'all just stay tuned. Big J and Andy and K-Dog's Kennel in the house. K-Dog's Kennel. He sponsored our Judgment Day 2000 review that dropped on the channel on Friday. Or I'm sorry, went live on the channel on Friday, so you can check that out. We had a good time reviewing that one live. Thank you for the $5 there, Kevin. I appreciate that. Thank you for the Judgment Day review. Rest in peace, Dave Hebner and Tim White. Crazy week in wrestling. How's our friend Bub doing? It's really a shame that Dave Hebner and Tim White passed away within days of each other because they were both big-time parts of WWE, especially, you know, for me as a kid growing up in the 80s and stuff. You saw those two everywhere. And yesterday during the podcast, I shared my memories of Dave Hebner, getting a chance to meet him backstage one time, and also, you know, the big twin referee angle that he did with Earl when they came in 1988, or when Earl came in 1988, and how many memories of him I have. And here, just a couple days later, 48 hours later, whatever it is, we lose Tim White as well. So that's a shame. And yeah, kind of a crazy week in wrestling. Also, if you guys have not heard all of my thoughts on the Vince McMahon situation, yesterday's podcast really did a deep dive on all of that stuff. We covered all of the speculation, the WWE announcements, the WWE statements, what this could mean for Vince's future, and overall opinions about the whole situation. Spent close to an hour talking about that yesterday. So you can head over to the channel and you will see that podcast is up and the audio is up on the website for download, and you can find it on all of the podcast sites as well. George Morris, as usual, with your token $5. Appreciate that. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? King of the Ring 98, 10 out of 10. Terry Funk choke slammed out of his shoes. Tim White died. Very sad summer of 98. Best ever. Yeah, Terry Funk getting choke slammed out of his shoes was a really funny moment. I guess he must have had him untied or whatever and really shook himself out of there. That was a pretty good moment. And to answer Kevin's question earlier, Bub, of course, is still doing very good. Just gave him the steroids about 2 hours ago. So he's still kicking, still eating, still making noise. And the way he's going now, I think he could be here until Christmas. So that really makes me happy. But I'm about to leave him for a week in the beginning of July when I go to Hawaii, so I am a little concerned for him, but he's doing very well. My name is Earl. I got you already. Mr. E1976, Vash Starrin Rodrigo is here as well, along with Deshaun Robinson. Happy Juneteenth. That's right. Thank you for that, Deshaun, and good to see you in here as always. Spaz Phoenix is back. Thank you for the $10. This guy knows about Impact stuff. Slammiversary is already good. Rich Swann is the new social media champion. Shark Boy won the Reverse Battle Royal. Shark Boy is still around. And we just started a loaded Ultimate X match. That's awesome. Spaz, if you want to chime in with some updates on this throughout the night, you are welcome to. Rich, I mean, I took a look at the card. I recognized about 80% of the names, so I was pretty familiar with everybody on there. But I didn't know Shark Boy was still around. Jesus, was he like a surprise entrant? I saw the Reverse Battle Royal, and I thought I saw the names listed for that. Is he a TNA original? Because I know there was supposed to be a TNA original guest spot somewhere. So anyway, don't know what that's about. But thanks for the update on that, Spaz. 10 more from you right after that. Irony is this. I was at a Destiny show earlier today, burned my head in the sun. And tonight, the Destiny champ Josh Alexander defends his Impact title against Eric Young. That's right, he does, and you burned your head. Well, I know what that's about. You got to put that sunscreen on, man, or wear a hat, especially in the summertime. Especially if you don't have a ton of hair like I do. This is very vulnerable to the sun. So be careful up there in Canada and put that sunscreen on, Spaz. Who is next? I know just a couple more super chats, then we'll get into the pay-per-view. I'm sorry for the delay. Deshaun Robinson, appreciate the $2 from you. Happy Father's Day to you, Greg, and to all. Yeah, my two little boys didn't give me shit. Bub and Tito, I woke up this morning waiting for my Father's Day presents. I sat here patiently. Little fuckers had nothing. Nothing for me. All they wanted was me to feed them. Fathering is a thankless job, I'll tell you. Barry MK in the house. Good to see you, dude. Oh, yeah, shit. Barry, thank you for that. See, Barry knows what's going on. We did a SummerSlam 1998 watch-along last year. We don't want to be doubling up on that shit. So thank you, Barry. The 1998 saga ends tonight. There will be no SummerSlam 98 watch-along. If you want to see that, you can go back to last year and watch us do that. So we're going to do SummerSlam 91, maybe even SummerSlam 92. We'll find some other fun SummerSlams to do next month. Thank you for reminding me of that, Barry, so I didn't look like an idiot next month. Let me see. Who else do we got? I got to get WWE Fan 22 with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Nice to join you on this watch along, especially since we're going to watch the most famous Hell in the Cell match ever, and that is damn true. Alrighty, I think that's it. I'm sorry for keeping you guys waiting, but since this is only a 2-hour and 36-minute long pay-per-view, we really had about, 24 minutes to shoot the shit. I usually like this thing to, just end at a nice even 3 hours. So back in these days, the pay-per-views were only like 2 hours and 45 minutes long. So we always have a little bit of time to shoot the shit before we get going. SummerSlam 99 could definitely do that one. That one was such a weird show to me, though. The only thing I really remember about it was the Shane McMahon and Test match. A lot of the rest of it wasn't a great pay-per-view in my mind. For some reason. Didn't really like the main event, all the controversy surrounding Austin not putting Triple H over. I know Jesse Ventura was there. Jericho, I think, had a promo on that show. Big Show and Undertaker had something going on, but it just wasn't a very memorable SummerSlam in my mind. I could maybe watch SummerSlam 2000. I did a review on that a couple of years ago as well because I was at SummerSlam 2000, so that might be a better one to do since I was there and could tell some pretty good stories from it. So maybe, unless I did a watch along of that last year too, but I don't think I did. So anywho, let's get King of the Ring 1998 pulled up on your Peacock. What we're going to do is do a countdown from 3, hit play together, and once we do, the timer above my head will begin to run. So that's how we're going to do it. Hopefully you guys have got King of the Ring pulled up. You want to get to all your zeros across the board there, watch any ads you need to watch, and don't skip the intro once we start. And from there, you just got to follow the timer. All right, so my finger is on the timer over here, and my other finger is on the play button over here, and I am ready to go if you guys are. Here we go. From a countdown of 3. 3, 2, 1, play. Perfecto. All right, here we go. That old school WWE scratch signature intro is playing right now. Let me turn up my volume so I can hear this shit. All right, we're getting the little... Oh, Freddie Blassie is doing the narration here. Also, I want to cheers you guys. My lovely and wonderful girlfriend, who I love with all my heart, showed up at home yesterday with 8, count 'em, of these bad boys. Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull American Lager. Now, I've had the IPAs a bunch of times before, but they're heavy, and they can fuck you up. But this is easy drinking. This is like a Pilsner or lager or something, 4.8% alcohol, and very easy to drink, kind of like a Stella. So, we're cracking that open. Cheers to you. And I got a lot of head on that, on the top of that. My first sip of that. I'm down, man. That's really good. Very good stuff. All right, that's going to be much easier to drink. That's just like drinking a Stella. Fantastic. Also going to take a little bite of my adult gummy beverage, or gummy snack, I should say. Oh, Spaz has got another update. I appreciate the super chats, Spaz. I really, really do. You do not have to put in $10 every time you update us, but thank you for that. Slammiversary update. Newest member of the Bullet Club, Ace Austin, just dropped the X Division title to criminally underrated French-Canadian superstar Speedball Mike Bailey. I like Mike Bailey a lot. I am familiar with him. He's with Beta Scott, right? They're great people. Cool. All right. Thanks for the update, dude. Who did Mike Bailey just work with? Last week. Who the hell was it? Not Will Ospreay. I can't remember now. He just had a good match with somebody just this past weekend. I forget. Oh, shit. I closed out my Peacock. See, that's why we have the timer. All good. I'll just move up Peacock to match the timer. Where are we at? 2:16. Whoopsie daisy. Assume I just got to fast forward a little bit. 2:04. Perfect. All right, we are on it. Wait, I need to pause one more time. And go. There we go. JR and King welcome us to Pittsburgh. This was the old Igloo, right? My volume sounds low, but there we go. Oh, man, those were the days. They got those gas cans out there. This is the Headbangers coming out first. All right. The timer above my head is still 1 second ahead of what I'm watching, but I don't think it really matters. Taka Michinoku and the Headbangers? Oh, Lord. I just did a review on this, I want to say in 2018 for the 20th anniversary. Because I remember I was doing that review right before I was going on vacation to North Kakalaki. I talked a lot about this show, but I don't remember these undercard matches. I do remember the Head and Shoulders match or whatever that is probably coming up next, which is one of the worst matches in WWE history. We're about to watch that together. Also involving Al Snow. All right, Kai and Tai. Is this before Taka turned and joined Kai and Tai? Must be, right? He's got, I like that Taka is a headbanger. Kai and Tai's music is pretty good, I think. Yeah, the stip in the main event was Kane was going to set himself on fire, which we were all wondering how that was going to fucking work. Considering he was already set on fire at Unforgiven. Yamaguchi-san. Yamaguchi-san has passed away too, yes? These gas cans. You could put them on the floor. Do they have to be on the fucking table with you? I don't know, Tatanani, a 2014 SummerSlam pay-per-view watch-along, maybe. I did love the main event, but I don't like... I also, when I do these watch-alongs, I want to watch shows that I like as well, and I don't like anything modern, to be honest. I mean, I don't really want to do a watch-along for anything past, like, 2006, to be honest. Like, the last 15 years-ish, not very interesting to me. I mean, there's some moments here or there. There's definitely a WrestleMania we could watch. You know, like WrestleMania 33. You know, there's Money in the Bank 2011. There's definitely some shows in there that are worth watching. But overall, I'd rather watch old school shit. The classics. I don't think I've ever heard Jerry Lawler mention the band in 9 Inch Nails before. That's got to be a first. And an only. Oh, man. Road Wild in August? I don't know. We're going to have to find some August shit unless we continue on with some SummerSlams. Normally, back in the day, SummerSlam was like mid to late August. Now it's July, so we got to find some shit to watch in August. We definitely go back to some WCW stuff. Those Road Wild shows were not good, though. Fucking Jay Leno and shit. Why is Yamaguchi-san dressed like that? I know a guy, one of my bartenders. He doesn't work for me anymore. But I worked with him for about 8 years, and he's a DJ. He looks a lot like Yamaguchi-san with that hat. He's about the same height. He's got the same hair, and he wears like a sideways hat like that when he's DJing. He looks exactly like my buddy. It's kind of funny. Yeah, SummerSlam 97. Hey, speaking of SummerSlams that didn't come late in the month, I believe that one was like August 3rd or something of SummerSlam. I used to have that pay-per-view poster hanging over like one of my first apartments over my little tiny TV. That might be a good one. Although, we're going to have to watch that pile driver, man. That a great crowd, New Jersey. They gave away, was that the thing where they gave away the $1 million to a fan? They had the New Jersey governor on hand because of all the tax shit that prevented them from running New Jersey for so long. LOD, did they win the titles there? Or no, they just had a match. Oh, yeah, Foley, Triple H and Foley. I was trying to think there's got to be another match on there that was considered good. Foley and Triple H opened the show, I think, in the big blue bar cage, which was awesome. So, yeah, that one could be on the list, We Are Pro Wrestling. I like it, but yikes. I don't know, though. Watching Austin go down like that is rough. JCS, thanks for the 186, or thanks for the 199. I appreciate that. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this is before Valboski got chopped. Oh, wait, Nope, you already got me already. Or I got you already. All right. Fully loaded 98. I was thinking about some fully loadeds, Mr. E, but you know what I really want to do? I think I'd rather do like fully loaded 2000. As a matter of fact, I really want to do fully loaded 2000 because that was those three big kind of like triple main events. It was when WWE gave opportunities to Jericho, Benoit, and Angle, and they all worked with Triple H, Rock, and Undertaker individually. And I believe they all lost, but it was one of my favorite pay-per-views ever that WWE did. I remember thinking it was so cool at the time, especially in the year 2000. I'm like, wow, look at them, pushing. These are three brand new guys, two guys from WCW and one that's literally brand new. And to see all of them kind of get those opportunities really began the road to world championships for all three of them. Oh, there's Chris Ludecki. What's up, dude? I owe you 2 super chats, so let's do this one first. Thanks for that $5. Better tagline for SummerSlam, in your opinion, Heart and Soul or Highway to Hell? Anyway, I don't think, oh yeah, nobody did win the $1 million. You had to like guess a number. You had a key and they tried to open it and it didn't work and they didn't give it away. You're right about that. Heart and Soul I like better than Highway to Hell. And also, I've got your super chat right here because I did not see your super chat yesterday. That happens sometimes when we have a bigger audience or when I'm really focused on talking. Sometimes I will miss one. And here's yours from yesterday. Another $5 that you put in on the podcast yesterday. When they announced Vince would be on SmackDown, some people were wondering if he'd been hit in the back with a wooden chair so he could get neck surgery. They should have done that. That's what they did with Ric Flair and Piper. They were having a little scuffle at the announce desk, and Vince took a chair shot, went down, and that was kind of like his write-off of TV or whatever. They could have done the same thing as a callback to that, but I think WWE needs to not treat this like it's not a big deal. If they were to do something like that, they would be poking fun at it. They would be certainly not taking it seriously and showing no remorse. So I'm not sure if I'd agree with that, but it would be funny if they tried it. And sorry for getting that one, Chris, yesterday. Yeah, I definitely want to put Fully Loaded 2000 on the list for next month. Actually, I think we should do Fully Loaded 2000 next week. There's nothing going on 1 week from tonight, right? No pay-per-view to worry about. Oh, fuck, forget Forbidden Door. Never mind. Forbidden Door is going on 1 week from tonight. And then after that is Money in the Bank. Shit. Or no, Money in the Bank is a Saturday this year. But I'm probably going to be working the 3rd, which is a Sunday. So this will actually be our last watch-along for like 3 weeks. because then after that I go to Hawaii. We might have to squeeze one in on a different night of the week. There's still a chance I could do a watch-along on July 3rd, 2 weeks from tonight, but I have a feeling I'm going to need to be at work because I leave July 5th to go to Hawaii. Well, I'm glad I did a watch-along tonight because I almost didn't do one. And then would have been a long time off. Big splash to Funaki. Taka's going for the Taka driver. That's it. It's not an elimination, right? Nope. Baby faces win. I'm surprised when you have well, back in those days, they just did the semifinals and finals, but they still have time for these kind of like these throwaway matches on a show with a tournament and WWE title match and Hell in a Cell, all this stuff. It's kind of cool that they did Undertaker and Mankind at King of the Ring 2 years after their first match. Oh, God. Yeah, it's next. I knew it was next. Al Snow in the head. Okay, so this is too cool before they're too cool. There's still too much here. They didn't have the dancing thing going on yet. Oh, here comes Sable. Okay, now remember, we watched Over the Edge 98 last month where she got beat by Mark Merrow and she had to leave the WWE. So this was when, I guess, Vince kind of brought her back. See, I'm not a huge Sable fan from like not that she's unattractive. She's certainly not. But I've never thought Sable was, was like Stacy Keibler. But here, I got to say she looks very good. Hey, Divine Ricks, appreciate the $2. SummerSlam 2005 is a good one, too. I'd be into that. Watching Shawn oversell Hogan. There were some good matches on that show. A couple of bloody encounters, too. Was that the one that had Triple H and Ric Flair? Or maybe that was Randy Orton and Ric Flair. I forgot. Some gnarly bloody match with Ric Flair, I think, was on SummerSlam. It's quite the outfit, Sable. Jerry Lawler. God, Sable's voice is terrible. Here comes Vince. Oh. So Pat Patterson is here. I'm pretty sure that Pat lost Louis on this very day. His longtime partner died today. And he's out there with Vince. Or the day before, maybe. I do remember King of the Ring 1998 being associated with Pat Patterson, with the loss of Patterson's partner. That's really sad, but he's out there. He's out there. I love Pat Patterson. Met him a couple times, too. Met Briscoe. Briscoe was with Dave Hebner when they escorted me backstage that time. Pat, I shared a plane ride with Pat Patterson once. He's getting on the mic, too. Did he just pat her on the ass? Oh! And Pat got slapped. Oh, my God. In territory he's not familiar with. Jim Ross said when he patted Sable on the ass, that's territory he's not familiar with. The derriere. Yeah, you can't slap a girl on her ass. Mr. McMahon. What did we just watch the other day that had Briscoe? Oh, yeah, it was Judgment Day 2000. So 2 years later, this shit would still be going on with Briscoe and Patterson. Briscoe would be the hardcore champion. Look how young Vince looks compared to how fucking old he looks now. Poor Pat. Yeah, we are pro. So it was the very day, and Pat is out there performing. I couldn't do it. They were together over 20 years, I think.
How many of you have joined us because you want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated here tonight?
Oh, yeah. Who's that? Is that Michael Moore? Michael Moore, yeah. Thought I recognized him.
Could Kane not be successful in his acquisition of the title? How many of you have joined us to witness Kane setting himself on fire here tonight?
Check out that big old zit Vince has got in his nose.
They have an attitude. Of course, this is Pittsburgh.
Fucking thing. I can see that thing from space.
Well, I would suggest that you're probably setting yourselves up for one great, big disappointment.
Divine Ricks, appreciate that $5, dude. Can you believe we're approaching the 15-year anniversary since the Benoit tragedy? I remember that day like it was yesterday. Yeah, this year will be 15. That anniversary is coming up next week, I think. It's like the 20th or something like that. When did all that happen? 26th, 27th? I did a 10-year anniversary video of that 5 years ago.
In all likelihood, were a disappointment to your mother and father.
Oh, Vince McMahon, I was not.
You didn't quite measure up to that level of success that your parents wanted for you.
You mean like your own kids, Vince? Sounds like your own kids
Make the grade,
are like that too.
whether it was athletics or academics, you didn't quite measure up. So therefore, you were a disappointment to your very
No, Kevin, I've never seen Shameless, but I'm aware of Shameless. I know it's a great show. I've seen parts of it. I could get into Shameless because I know enough about it that I would watch it, but I have never watched it.
I bet they disappointed you too, right? Because in the end, when you suffer
I'm wrapping up Orange is the New Black now. I got about 5-6 episodes left,
through your lives,
and I'm done with that one.
who are you ultimately going to blame? Yourself? Are you ever going to look in the mirror? I don't think so. You're going to blame good old mom and dad, right? Dysfunctional
In the mirror.
DNA syndrome.
My buddy that I grew up across the street from, his family was from Connecticut. And they would say mirror, like Vince did. Look in the mirror.
Nonetheless, you know what failure is all about. You know what disappointment is all about. So therefore, I simply stand before you here tonight to sort of soften the blow of the disappointment that you're going to feel when Austin loses the title here tonight. Another generous move by McMahon. I want to prepare you.
All right. He's preparing us for Austin losing the title, and I remember at the time thinking, I'm like, Austin just won the title. He's not losing it to Isaac Yankem.
You'll be sick, won't you, JR? Indeed, I want to warn you of the inevitable. When Austin is defeated and the ring announcer in this very ring tonight says, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match and the new World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane.
Kane. Vince really wants Kane to win. Like, during the Shawn feud, it was like Vince wanted a more corporate champion. That's why he didn't want Austin. Why would he prefer Kane? Why would he prefer a demon, an unstable demon? They could murder you over someone like Austin.
Well, I guess so, because, everybody here is die-hard Stone Cold Steve Austin fans.
You suck, Pat. Vince leaving with the Stooges. Spaz, 5 more from you. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah, they're showing the replay of the ass smack. Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary are your new knockout tag champs. Just beat Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood. All right, that's cool. K-Dog's Kennel, who likes Orange is the New Black more, me or Elizabeth? I don't know. Probably equal. She's seen it before. So she's watching this again. I've never seen it. But it's kind of her recommendation. And I was a big Weeds fan. And Genji Cohen was the writer there as well. All right, Shamrock and Double J or Rock and Severn is up first. I'm not sure. But I think I like Weeds better. The one big issue I've been having... Oh, no, it is going to be Double J and Shammy. One issue I've had with Orange is the New Black, it's too gnarly. I'm starting to get like annoyed with it. I'm sick of... I just don't like watch depressing shit, and everything is depressing. I mean, the show has its moments. It's funny. It's really well written, and the dialogue is super. But I am really, really tired of just seeing every fucking person get shit on. I mean, I think at the end, the finale is probably going to have its share of happy endings sprinkled around, but I think largely it's going to be fucking depressing. Somebody else is probably going to die or something, and and that's just one issue I've had with the show is that I don't like stressful and depressing shit, and it's almost angered me a couple of times that a lot of the shit that they put people through seems unnecessary, but it's prison. What do you expect? It's not fucking Disneyland. It's not Tiddlywinks. It's a goddamn prison. So I don't know why I'm surprised that I'm seeing uncomfortable stuff, but, the last episode I watched, Tasty tried to hang herself and stuff. I'm like, I'm tired of this. So at least with Weeds, it could get intense, but it was funny, and I guess when Orange is the New Black is over, I'm probably not going to miss it. It's just too gnarly for me. So the next show can't have this vibe. Whatever we watch next has to be a little bit more on the lighthearted side for me because shit like that gets to me. Ain't I great? Fucking Jeff Jarrett. This building I don't believe exists anymore. This is where the Pittsburgh Penguins used to play, I believe. I believe it has a new arena there now. Kenny was always in the most ridiculous shape. God. It's like looking in a mirror, as Vince McMahon would say. Nice, JDT. You'll be at Raw in Omaha tomorrow. First Raw ever. That's awesome. I didn't even know that's where they were, in Omaha. Fucking Nebraska. Were you at Good Friends, Better Enemies? That was in Omaha. Here, Jeff Jarrett jumped him, but camera cut away. I mean, it would be interesting to see like a prime Shamrock here in like 98 against a Brock, Still think Brock would whip his ass. But I think Brock is a better wrestler. But Shamrock was still really good. And I always liked Shamrock. Met Shamrock, I think twice. Once for sure. Oof. Yeah, the first time I met Shamrock was 2 months before this. Tatanani. Oh, I thought you were asking me. Yeah, Juliet's got it right. If you were asking me who my favorite valet ever was, come on now. Hopefully, everyone else's favorite is the same as mine. Nice. Shamrock and Double J. Interesting match. And look at who our referee is for this one. Rest in peace, buddy. Shamrock on AEW? I don't know. I'm not really interested in seeing Shamrock wrestle. I mean, he's super old now. It's not something I need. Bringing him in for an appearance, sure. Why not? But I wouldn't be putting him in the ring in programs or nothing. I didn't say it was Double J's fault. That's funny. Shut up, Lawler. Yeah, Jarrett would get his haircut in a couple of months. Oh, fucking Tennessee Lee. I'd almost forgot who won this King of the Ring. And then I had to remember. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember now. It's like Shamrock could never get that Intercontinental title away from The Rock, but they finally had him beat him for the King of the Ring title. Oh, what's up? Sherry Lee, good to see you. Glad you're here as well. And yes, I am aware of Shameless. I should be watching that. I know it's a good show. Oh, the Tennessee Leaf crotching. Oh, no, he's just slam Shamrock's leg on the post. Wife is in the house. Man, we got spouses up in here. Right on. I'm working with, I still got to send it over to him, but Colin, I've got some recipes for his wife for some cookbook that she's doing. No, WWF fan. I've not watched Ozark either. I hear everybody talking about Ozark. I'm not. My next show is just cannot be intense. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the deaths and the ODs and the fights and the intensity and the bullshit. In Orange is the New Black, all I want is for Blanca and Diablo to be together. I don't care about anybody else. They can all fucking die at this point. I was like, I'm so invested in Blanca and Diablo. I just want her to be happy. I can already tell Red's losing it. She's going to get Alzheimer's or dementia or something. Somebody else is definitely going to die. I'm not sure how, but there's so much drugs floating around there in the prison. Oh. That's it. Just like that. He's tapping out with both hands. Now, help me out, TNA people. Did Shamrock and how many run-ins did Shamrock and Jarrett have in TNA? Because they were both there at the beginning, right? I love that. Tennessee Lee, 8-1-2. Lucifer, huh? Okay. One down, one to go. He faces the winner of Rock and Dan Severn. Okay, Shamrock. Another show that's kind of on my radar that I think might be a good transition after something as intense as Orange is the New Black is Ted Lasso. I know the director. Or one of the directors, I should say. She's directed, I think, 3 episodes, and she is the sister-in-law of my best friend. King of the Ring. Oh, they got the blow-up Undertaker. Look at this old, primitive rock music. You smell what the Rock is cooking? God, he was just a few months removed from being Ken Shamrock's bitch, but still managing to survive with the Intercontinental title. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they work Rumble, Mania, and Mania for the IC title? And Rock kept the title through both of those. Now he's still champion, and he's facing him in a non-title match. Now he loses. Well, this will be later, obviously. He's going to beat Severn here. But just a couple months later, he dropped the belt to Triple H in the ladder match, and then he would be WWE champion. So we were about, what, 5 months away from him being WWE champion? How crazy is that? Look at Kyoto sending them back. Get out of here, Godfather. Oh, nice. 5-year anniversary San Diego trip next May. That's awesome. You'll love it here. You'll want to stay. Trust me. I actually really liked Dan Severn's theme. I thought it was good. He's the most plain-looking motherfucker there is. He looks more like a hockey player or something to me. They did do a Shamrock and Dan Severn match on Raw, I believe. Oh, this might be when D'Lo tore his pec and then he'd wear the fucking protective vest for a decade and a half. That's awesome. That's what Cody should wear. Just wear the chest protector. You'll be fine. The Rock and Dan Severn. Interesting match. Interesting that this actually happened on a pay-per-view. And I remember Severn, he was originally in the Brawl for All, but they took him out. Oops, I think I muted my mic. Sorry. But imagine if Severn and Shamrock would have been in the Brawl for All together. Holy shit. Yeah, Severn seems like he has to be a nice guy. He just doesn't seem like somebody who's a douchebag. He's just very reserved. But he didn't. He really did not translate well in wrestling. I mean, he had that shoot fighting experience and stuff, but he had a little bit of presence. But man, he had nothing else. There was no charisma or anything attractive in him at all. I think that's where Shamrock had a little bit more of that it factor because he just looked better, much better physique, fit the part a little bit better, and he had that intensity. And Severn, he's a former NWA champion as well. Not a very good seller. Ha! We Are Pro Wrestling. You just said that at the same time. I didn't realize he was NWA World Champion at this time. I knew he was. I didn't know he was technically right now. Weren't they about to bring the NWA title back or a version of it? And I'm pretty sure they did have, at one point, that classic NWA title on WWE TV. I want to say it was when Jim Ross had the NWA board members or whatever the fuck in the ring that one time. I swear that belt's been on WWE TV sometime in '98. Laying down the smack is right. Artistic elbows. Vince gave up on Ciampa. I don't think Vince had any plans for Ciampa, to be honest.
Rock has thrown any scientific wrestling out the window here. And he's being effective. Don't say he's not. And Severn, cheap shot. Uncharacteristically, throwing punches. You rarely see Severn even throw a punch.
Tied up in the corner.
That's not his participating Severn and Shamrock in the finals. They've met twice in the Ultimate Fighting world. What a knockdown. Both men knocked down. What a collision.
That's right, yeah. Cornette had him for a while. I remember that. I was at a show a couple of months before this where Severn, I was on at Raw where Severn like ran down and he thought he was going to join DX. Oh, there's D'Lo with the chest protector. Big frog splash. Now, was that a legit injury back then? I mean, if D'Lo really tore his pec, he wouldn't be back already, even with that thing. He certainly wouldn't be frog splashing a motherfucker, and he helps Rock win. So that's how Rock beats Severn. I kind of forgot about that. D'Lo comes in and hits him with the frog splash. And it's going to be The Rock and Ken Shamrock in the main event. Oh, Michael Cole, what are you doing?
Now you got to take on a very confident and intense Ken Shamrock in the final. What you need to do is finally shut your mouth and know your role.
Yeah, shut your mouth and know your role, Michael Cole.
The Rock ain't hearing that, Jack. In order to climb any mountains around here, The Rock is going to make sure you go through this man and a half. Before you reach any damn peak or valley, The Rock is going to make sure you hit rock bottom.
All right. Rock still cutting his teeth as The Rock. I mean, it was he had only been this character for less than a year. I think he came back late 97 or maybe late summer 97, so not even a year as a heel, and he's progressed a lot. $2 more from Spaz. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, dude. Sami Callihan defeated Moose in a bloody Monsters Ball. What's the crowd size for this thing? Is it a decent-looking place? They're still not doing fanless shows, are they? Okay, yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if the Fox Star Killer, I wasn't sure if the injury was legit, and then they just turned it into an angle with the chest protector. So the whole thing was a work to set up the chest protector. Okay, here we go. Too much versus Al Snow with head. Yeah, Al Snow had just come back. He left as Leif Cassidy, and then he just turned up. I remember watching the show when he turned up. I'm like, holy shit, because he was in ECW doing the head stuff.
Is a big Stone Cold fan, but it didn't take long to find out why Al was really back. I need to see this. I need to see this. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
I need to see Vince.
But WWF officials
I don't recall. We Are Pro Wrestling, you might know. I don't recall if Al was let go by WWE to go to ECW or if he was kind of loaned out to them and where they kind of kept him under contract or kept paying him, but he went to ECW to... Who the fuck? I remember this.
Can I lose this guy? I cannot believe this. You look ridiculous.
So once he got over in ECW, I'm wondering if Vince called up Paul. I'm like, I'm going to need him back, you know, because he got over with the head shit. He had a couple of tours in ECW, all way more successful than what he did in WWE, it felt like.
2 weeks ago. But believe it or not, that one act may have finally got Al his meeting with Mr. McMahon if he and the head get by too much tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a very unique situation here. Al Snow and the head against the team of Too Much. And
Up next, Briscoes and Good Brothers. I think Impact's tag team match is going to be better than Too Much versus Al Snow and Head. Oh yeah, that old Brian Christopher music. And Christopher had a good look, you know. Look at these guys. They're starting to kind of do the shit like Scotty 2 Hottie's starting to do his stuff. But there's still too much. Yeah, too sexy Brian Christopher, then he'd be Grandmaster Sexay. Oh, my God. I can't believe how over these guys got as baby faces. And Scott Taylor was real. I mean, I like Brian Christopher too, you know. I like both of them when they were young. Scott Taylor had a bunch of good matches. Brian Christopher was doing a lot of work in USWA. And I can hear you just fine. Oh, yeah, the head and shoulders thing. This is, I think, one of the worst matches WWE's ever done, ever. If you win, you get a meeting with McMahon. McMahon's probably around the corner in his office. The head don't lay down for anybody, y'all. And head. Did he have the music yet? Did he have whatever? What does everybody want? Or that hadn't happened yet? I swear that one ECW show where the whole arena had the heads and they were doing the heads, I swear WWE saw that, and that's what made them want Al Snow here. Because they immediately, you saw those heads were at the merch stands. I used to go to shows at this time. They would have those fucking heads for sale. Like, who would buy a goddamn head? These don't even have hair. Just carrying around a head. Well, since this show is going to be really bad, I'll share with you some personal memories of this show. Oh, wait, let's hear what Howard has to say. Guest referee, let me guess, it's Lawler. What? Jerry Lawler is going to be the referee for this terrible match. Oh, he just happens to have a referee shirt right there. Wow, look at that guy in the Penn State tank top. Good Lord. He put Al Snow's head on Kane's pyro. They should have left it there. Oh, no, he put it in the turnbuckle. But what if they put it on top of the pyro and it blew the head to bits? That would actually be pretty cool. Oh, yeah, you got to wear the crown when you referee, you fucking moron. Well, there's 4 people in this match. And a head. 3 wrestlers, a head, and a referee. Good Lord. But anyway, this pay-per-view, I've told the story before. This was the first pay-per-view I watched on my big screen TV that I bought about a week before this show. Right? Just a couple of days, it finally got delivered. And I had a full-time job at the time, and I was watching all my pay-per-views on just a little, like, 19-inch TV, and then finally I just went and decided to buy a big Oak Entertainment Center and a 50-inch TV that was on rollers. Those things were so heavy, and I paid, like, a ton, like, fucking $1,800 for this TV back in 1998, which is the equivalent to, like, $5,000 now. And it was... Nowadays, every TV is big and the 4K and all of that, but you young people don't understand, like when you had to watch on standard definition on smaller TVs, and then all of a sudden your picture is blown up 50 inches. I couldn't even believe what I was watching. You know, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 50-inch TVs in this house right now. But back then, 4, I'm sorry. But back then, we had, just regular tube TVs. So I went and splurged and bought this monster. And if you want to see the dorkiest pro wrestling apartment in history, I'm about to show that to you right here. This was my living room. in 1998. So that's the TV and the entertainment center that I bought with it. There's even wrestling playing on it. And I had that big Austin fucking thing. I had so much like wrestling shit scattered around the apartment. But to watch pay-per-views on that was pretty awesome. Here's another like view of my apartment. Yeah, so those were the days. I'd sit there and I'd have my buddies over. This is actually the living room. So this living room that you're looking at right now, this is where we all watched Owen Hart die. This is where it all happened. So I was sitting on the left side of the couch, I believe, when that was going down. So, yeah, that's where I was sitting. That's the very room I was sitting in when Owen passed away. But, yeah, that's my old Attitude Era apartment. And I used to have a shit ton of action figures, too. I had all of these, like 1998 action figures. I started collecting them for a short time, but then I got out of doing it because it just wasn't really worth it to do it anymore, and I ended up selling all of them on eBay. So, yeah, I had a shit ton of action figures as well. So, yeah, that was, I would have been 21 years old back in those days. Fun times. I still managed to get dates. I don't know how with all this fucking wrestling shit all over the place, but yeah, 23 years ago. That's where I used to live. Now all that shit has to be confined to one room in the house, like a normal person. All right, we're resuming this tag match in progress here. This match is so bad. All I remembered of it is that it's bad. Wow, big top rope power bomb. Oh, see, they're checking the shoulders. They're already starting to make a big deal about the shoulders thing. Look how he's going under there. Could have counted to 8. Why was Lawler always used to introduce people into the company? Like, they used him a lot to bring in newcomers. They used him several times with ECW stuff. Used him to help bring in Al Snow. Used him to help bring in Mark Henry. Remember, Mark Henry had his first match against Lawler. And there's probably some other examples of this, too, that I'm just not thinking of. They used him to bring in Isaac Yankem, as that gimmick. He was always involved in newcomers coming in. Oh, Al Snow's running. Look out. Oh, wow. Oh, that was a crazy spot by Scott Taylor there. He kind of fell off the top rope. This is a terrible match. What's up, Ed Smith? Good to see you. Happy Father's Day and Juneteenth to you as well. It's always nice seeing your wrestling memorabilia and collection being shown when possible. Yeah, that was way back in the day, though. I had no business buying that back at that time, but I just did something crazy. I mean, and I moved so often, too. Like, I would only live at a place for a year or two, and then I'd move. So I had to move that big fucking heavy TV. Finally, I gave it away. I gave it to a coworker in 2005 or 6. I finally bought a flat screen HD TV, only 720p. I bought a 50-inch Sony Vega in like 2005. Again, for about $1,800. And even in 720p, that picture was so much better than that big screen TV that was on rollers. And now when I look at that any TV with that quality, I'm like, God, this sucks. We're fucking in 8K shit now. You know what, Victor? I don't remember. I don't know if Mark Henry did get injured in his debut match against the King. I don't think he did. But he might have. I mean, he wasn't on TV much after that because I think they kept him on like house shows and stuff. I saw him work a couple of house shows prior to him returning to TV. He was coming out to Kurt Angle's theme song and shit. Look at him. Oh, yeah, Ed, I always used a dolly, but I was always on, like, the third floor. So a dolly would only do so much. So I'd always, like, rent a U-Haul. My friends would help me. Daniel, if he's watching this, he remembers all the fucking nightmare that was. So I probably owe them a lifetime of beer for helping me out back then. Nowadays, I just hire movers to move me, and it doesn't matter. But back in those days, I would do it myself, and it was a pain in the ass. Oh, my God. Look at this little dance he's doing. And then when I moved from eastern North Carolina down to the beach in Wilmington, I still had that TV. I rented a U-Haul and got a trailer, connected it, and put my car on the trailer, and I drove the U-Haul with all my belongings and my car attached at like 2:30 in the morning. Drove through the night down these country-ass roads. If I would have broken down, I would have been ass-raped in about 10 minutes. And got all the way to Wilmington, got there at like 6 in the morning. I had already driven down there and signed the lease paperwork and everything. I had my key to my apartment, and that's how I moved. And the TV survived, and I was on the third story at that apartment. It was so high up, too, and I had those, like, twisting staircases. And my buddy drove down from Raleigh to help me move, and me and him moved that TV up there. Oh, my God. You wouldn't believe it. If you're wondering what's happening in this match, nothing. Too Cool, or Too Much, I should say, are both down. Lawler's leaving. He's not going to count nothing here. Yeah, what are you doing over here? Jim Ross asks Lawler. Ooh, head to the balls. Head to the head. Oh, there's the driver. Snowplow or whatever he calls it. Now, look at this shit. That is so stupid. Like, when they were writing this shit backstage, they probably thought it was the funniest thing. Hey, I got it. What if we get a bottle of Head and Shoulders? Because it's like, shoulders, get it? And then we put the shoulders on the head, and then you pin the shampoo bottle. Ah, great shit. Dumbest fucking match I've ever seen. And I was present and live in the arena for the Kennel from Hell match. That was better than this. It really was. Also involving Al Snow. Yeah, this is the worst match I've ever seen in my life. And I once watched Ultimate Warrior vs. Hulk Hogan in WCW. That shit was Cody and Seth compared to this. Look at Brian Grizzard twisting the head. Doesn't even matter if it's attached. Just duct tape it. Good Brothers defeat Briscoes, new tag team champs. I thought they already were the... What titles is that for? I already thought the Good Brothers were Impact Tag Champs. I can't keep track of this shit, but thanks for the update, Spaz. X-Pac and Owen Hart. Second time they're meeting at King of the Ring. They also met in 1994. Although, that was a tournament match, and I don't think this is. It's not. We know it's not. Owen and X-Pac. He did tag Owen hard, didn't he? God. Ugh. Owen needed staples to close that. Hopefully Owen had no hard feelings there, but that's rough. That's the injury you don't want. Just getting whacked in the back of the fucking head. I loved X-Pac. I was so happy to see him back. I mean, it was a small victory for WWE at the time, but to me it was a big victory because I could already feel, them kind of turning the corner. Finally, the talent is starting to go the other way. because everybody was just going to WCW. That's what we're seeing with AEW. When they began, everybody was going there. But once AEW exists for a while, and as the years go by, it's going to start to even out more, and you're going to start seeing talent going back and forth, not so much all one-sided. And this was kind of like that. It was like starting to happen. After the 2 or 3 years of just the floodgates opening and everybody going to WCW, now, bit by bit, they're starting to come back. X-Pac was the first. Actually, I think Jeff Jarrett was kind of the first a few months before this. Then X-Pac. Then we would get into Big Show, Chris Jericho, Radicals. This all started it. Oh, Trey, don't remind me of Hogan's back-to-back SummerSlam victories in 05 and 06. Those are the two of the biggest matches I believe that Hogan should not have won. He should have he should have either not worked in either of those or lost them both. Fucking horseshit to do what he did to Shawn and then come back. But, I mean, the blame's not totally on Hogan. Blame also goes on Vince. The WWE says, Hogan, hey, you want to come in and make some money at SummerSlam, and they're going to allow you to say what you want to do? That's on them. I tried to be a nice guy. Look at his face. Yeah, Owen was newly heel. Oh. You know what? I want to go back and watch their King of the Ring 94 match. And I'm curious if it started the same way. Anybody know? I want to say, now the King of the Ring 94 match I think was like only a few minutes long, like maybe 3 minutes long. But the match might have began the same way with 1-2-3 Kid baseball sliding into Owen. Just a familiar looking spot. Yeah, it was a DX versus Nation thing here. Back in 94, it was also heel and babyface. America's Most Wanted returned. I love that. I love to hear that. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys being here tonight, despite the fact that Slammiversary is on. Usually for these watch-alongs, we get like 60 to 100 people in the audience. So the fact that that didn't dip too hard due to Slammiversary is pretty cool. And we're eyeballing it. Appreciate all the updates from you guys. Yeah, the real RNO, I wasn't even aware that Head & Shoulders was a sponsor for the event. Okay. I was thinking it was just something they did, but they had a lot of sponsors. Castrol GTX, Stridex. What else? Skittles. Fruity, 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 fruity Skittles. Y'all remember when JR used to read the promo spots for Skittles? Oh, so great. Al Snow and Ed are having a conversation on the Superstar line. Big chops to Owen. This is just an exquisite match on paper. Sean Waltman and Owen Hart. Give me, give me, give me. Give me this match. Give me a 25-minute match for the IC title with these two. I don't think... Oh, nice Fisherman. Nice. These two never really got a good run together to do anything. They had some matches, but... wasn't a long enough program for me. Yeah, I like the Nation theme prior to Rock. This, prefer that over Owen's theme? I don't know. You mean the Owen Nation theme or the Enough is Enough, Time for a Change theme? I like the Owen Nation theme with his little sound bites. I tried to be a nice guy. That shit cracks me up, tickles me. So yeah, I'd probably pick Owen. But I've liked all versions of the Nation's theme. I like the very first one. Very simple beat, but it was good. It fit them. Fucking PG-13 wrapping him to the ring. I snapped. I was a victim. I love that. I was a victim. It's just the way he says it. Oh, my God. X-Pac launches over the timekeeper's table. There ain't no mats over here. Just cans of gasoline. It amazes me that Foley took that bump when you see, like, look how close that guardrail was. I got injured in a Stone Cold Steve Austin Rock match on one of those guardrails when Rock got thrown into me and it smashed my elbow. The fact that Foley was able to fly off of that thing and not really, really injure anyone. Now you got those big permanently secured guardrails that don't move. Or barriers now, I should say. The wrestlers have so much space to work with now. But back then, man, it was still kind of old school. I miss that. If you've ever needed those big barriers, you needed it back at this time. I almost got trampled at a house show when I was in the front row. When Austin came out, and the security just wasn't very good, and the fans were just bum rushing, acting like animals. And those guardrails were moving closer and closer to the ring. It was crazy. I was a victim. I never understood why he wore the road sign as trunks, but he's Owen. He can do what he wants. Like, if I was Owen, I would have had some gear that represented the faction I'm with, but I'd also have the tie-in. I'd at least have a couple of hearts on my trunks or something. I'd have some sort of reference to the Hart family or have a little bit of outlines or hints of pink. I mean, I know it was time for a change and everything, but you can have a change of attitude and even change your gear, but at least kind of keep something true to your past. I would have preferred as a fan. Oh, X Factor. Was that before? Okay, so X-Pac was not using that as a finish yet. JR just called it a unique maneuver right there by X-Pac. That would become the X Factor. Not sure if Owen might have an elbow injury or something there. I'm not sure what that pad is about. Yeah, Owen and Angle have worked. Unfortunately, Angle was just cutting his teeth, not even on TV yet. Oh, now he's doing the Bronco Buster. Before it was the Bronco Buster. Or I guess he was kind of doing that in WCW a bit too. Oh, wow. Superplex. Big one. Watch it, guys. Jesus Christ. Be careful. God, that was all kinds of ugly. I don't know how they maintained their balance up there. Owen got caught on the side of the face. He's bleeding. He took a nasty bump. A back bump onto the mat. Oh! God, X-Pac wasn't even flat either. He was laying on his side, and Mark Henry splashed him. Fucking broke his hip. Oh, look at China. Oh, yeah, China and Mark Henry. This is before they went on their date, I think. I'm not scared of you. Vader. Oh, Vader goes down. Vader will always falls, doesn't he? Doesn't he always fall? Oh, and there's a sharpshooter. X-Pac's tapping out. No! Ha! DDT to Owen. I have not watched this show in 5 years. I forgot how fucking funny it is. So I think Owen got up. Is that it? And it is. And X-Pac wins. I think Owen got that cut on his eye when they were jockeying on the top rope. I think something happened up there. They're really struggling to hang on to that. Well, good. I kind of forgot I forgot X-Pac got the win there. See, it would have been cool if you had, like, the Outlaws and D'Lo and Godfather. If D'Lo and Godfather formed, like, a really strong team and won the tag team titles or something. And then you had Rock and Triple H feuding for the Intercontinental title. And then you could have Owen and X-Pac feud for, like, the European title. I think X-Pac and D'Lo feuded for that a little bit. And there's the cut on Owen's eye. But you could have had every championship involved in that. I'm trying to think, was I at one of those shows? I might have been at one of those European title changes with X-Pac and D'Lo. I can't remember. I cannot believe, I kind of forgot about Vader. We watched Over the Edge last month, right? He faced Kane in that mask match. He called himself a big fat piece of shit after the match. And I thought that was the last time I had ever seen him, but he was getting involved here. Here comes Paul Bearer. I like how some of these pay-per-views were structured a little bit like Raws. We'd have a couple of promos and shit. We had the Vince one earlier. Something tells me this is going to be a promo by Paul Bearer because it's not time for the main event. Scott D'Amore in his Team Canada gear. That's cool. It's interesting, too, because this is about a year that after Kane was mentioned on WWE TV for the first time. I think it was in the summer of '97. Now he's finally debuted, and he's here, and about to win the freaking title. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Undertaker went to his house. Damn, he's just punching him on the couch. I had completely forgotten about this home invasion. This is another early glimpse of Mark Calloway. I mean, he's in street clothes there. My son Kane. So now he's trying to act like all this time Kane was his son. I didn't like some of the shit they did with this. I thought just the basic story was fine. They kept twisting it. It got too weird. You didn't need to make Paul Bearer his dad. You didn't need to bring the the exhumed bodies of the parents to Raw and put them on the stage. It got a little bit over the top. I like the original story best. Oh, and then the reveal that Taker did it on purpose. I like the original story that Undertaker accidentally set fire to the home, took the life of his brother. He's lived with that guilt his whole life. The brother comes back to get revenge. That's all you need. You could go for 5 years on that. But I think they went a little overboard with it. Like that's Russo going too overboard there. Paul Bearer would always make fun of his own weight and stuff, but he was beyond unhealthy here. You know, he was to the point where you were legitimately worried for him. I'm glad. Like, it was nice when he came back a few years later. He got so slim and everything. I'm glad that He got a little better there at the end, but look at that picture of Paul Bearer. Oh, yeah, they went over the top all the time. That's just what they did. I mean, I think they thought the fans constantly needed, like, more surprises in that angle, but I could have gotten invested just fine in what they had with that. Because that's an interesting thing, you know. I think you can develop a character deeper by knowing that they've been living with that guilt instead of just changing the entire story and say, oh, no, they did it on purpose. Now they're a heel. You know, I think the guilt itself could have turned him heel. He could have just snapped and been, you know, and been very scary and brutal and vicious. And people could have been like, you know, we understand the trauma that he went through and the guilt, only to find out that his brother's alive, and that might change a man. But still, you have to be held accountable for your actions. You still can't, you know, be evil just because you went through all that. And I think it would be more fun for the audience to decide if they want to get behind a character like that or not. But the minds of Attitude Era fans like myself back then weren't thinking that deep. Wrestling was very in your face back then. And you couldn't watch Raw without seeing some crazy shit happen. So crazy to see all these wrestlers in their prime, you know, when they're young and we're in their same age where everybody is now, currently on TV for the most part. Look at Billy Gunn. On his fucking 30s. I remember I reached over the guardrail and touched Lex Luger's arm in 1980. Maybe like 1991 or 1990. One of those years. And I got real close and I was able to like put my whole hand like on his young, firm, humongous bicep. And I always remember that. I'm like, God damn, these guys were huge back then. So to see these guys like in their former prime, remembering what it was like to go to these shows and seeing them up close. I just wish I had a phone in my pocket that could take video in 4K back then. The shit that I would have, the footage I would have, would be incredible. Speaking of my phone, I don't even know where it is. I don't even know if I have a phone. Not tonight, I guess. And I'm sorry for not acknowledging the match that's going on here. It is the New Age Outlaws versus the Midnight Express, the new Midnight Express. I always forget if it's Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart or Bodacious Bob and Bombastic Bart. I don't know. I don't think either one of them are bodacious or bombastic. You know, though, Bob Holly might be a little bit bombastic. You might want to call him Mr. Bombastic. Bart's not bodacious. And he's also not bombastic. Bob Holly's also not bodacious, but he is slightly bombastic. So just to recap, the only one of these guys that have any bodaciousness or bombasticness to them is Bob Holly, who's about 28.5% bombastic. There's going to be a quiz later. Don't not be writing this shit down. This is actually kind of an interesting match. Outlaws are tag champs too, right? There's no belts on the line here, or are the tag belts on the line? Or is this just a champion versus champion match? What the fuck am I watching? And it's pretty cool to see Bart and Billy on opposite sides. A few years ago, 2 years prior to this, 3 years prior to this, this could have been the Smoking Guns versus the Roadie and Bob Holly. Oh, yeah, the Ass Boys are bombastic. Oh, I remember this match. Holy shit. Okay, there is a sequence here, and it might be right here. It is. Watch this next couple of seconds here. Just watch it between Billy and Bart. After this face-off, watch this little sequence, about 20 seconds. Look at this. Sharp punches. These guys are in great shape. Look at this. Hard shoulder tackle. Big leapfrog. Wow, counter out of the hip toss, took him down. Like, I just like that little sequence there. And I remember, I think it was when I was doing my review for the show, and I was watching the show, making notes. And I don't know why, just seeing the Smoking Guns come together and wrestle in that really, really impressive little sequence there, I cropped it out, put it on Twitter. And I'm pretty sure it got a retweet from Billy, Road Dogg, Bart, or somebody like that. But, yeah. Because here, Billy, like, the condition that he was in, when the Smoking Guns were a team, Bart Gunn was by far the better-looking physical specimen. He was better looking. He had a better physique. I always thought he looked a lot like Randy Orton. And Billy didn't have much of a look to him. Didn't look like he really worked out. He had that mullet and that porn stash. And, ugh. And then, after he was done feuding with Bart when they broke up and he became Rockabilly, when he returned as Rockabilly, about a year before this, he was in visibly better shape. He had taken that few months to really get himself in shape, and he just got more and more jacked as each year went on. And by this point, I think he was as big, might have even had a pound or two on Bart, which was crazy. So it's kind of an interesting match when you look at it. I don't know how to find that tweet. I don't even know what do I look up to find it. But one of y'all can look for it if you want. How many times, according to my profile, have I tweeted? Does it not say that anymore? I guess it doesn't tell you that. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. But back in the day on your Twitter profile, it usually tell you how many times you've tweeted. I don't see it on mine. Oh, thank you for that. You already the match is just there, not really for either tag titles. Yeah, I couldn't remember, and I was talking during the entrances, so I didn't hear anything about the instructions before. Let me see. I want to make sure. I know I got a super chat here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss one when I was flapping my trap. WWE fan 22. Thank you, dude. Appreciate the $5. You said nothing about a test at the beginning of the watch along. Pop quiz, bitch. Got to be prepared when you come in here. Pencils, books, book pack, be on time. Make sure you got everything you need. Make sure you're awake. Don't be high. Nothing like that. Write down everything I say, because if there's a quiz, you want to be prepared. Those are the rules. Accept them or be blocked. Your choice. Thanks for the $5, though. Appreciate that. Cornette out there. And DX had just officially made that transition to babyface. I don't think it was the intent after WrestleMania 14 for them to be babyfaces. They got so over with that WCW shit. And then they wound up turning Owen heel instead and moved a DX babyface. Which I remember at the time was still weird to get used to. I was like, I cannot believe, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, has gotten himself to the point of being a super over babyface. It blew my mind. I remember I would talk with my buddies, like, who do you think the top guys in the company right now are the biggest baby faces? Triple H was always like number 3 after Rock and Austin. I'm like, it's pretty impressive. DX Triple H was. Anyway. WWE fan thought I was kidding. That's hilarious. Am I doing a watch along or review for Money in the Bank? This coming Money in the Bank? Review. I'm going to be watching that here at home. We'll do a review after the show. And that'll be the last time you hear from me until I get back from vacation. What's up, James? Good to see you. Tito is dangerously close to my wires again. Be careful, buddy. Ooh, Bombastic Bob took a big boot to his bombastic melon. WWE fan, thanks for the 2. No, I was not at this pay-per-view. I was at the next year's King of the Ring. I have the chair. I thought about doing that one today. That was actually almost my pick, but I'm like, if I'm going up against Slammiversary, who wants to watch that fucking pay-per-view? I was in the 4th row for that, and I admit that it was a pretty bad one. So I was like, nah, let's do a show that everybody likes and knows and is familiar with and is historic. And we'd get a couple of glimpses of Timmy White here in the show, which I thought would be nice since he passed away. Oh, here comes Cornette. Oh, he hits Billy with the tennis racket. Is that the finish? Or no, with the tag belt. No, Billy will kick out. Yeah, they're not going to beat the Outlaws here. Are you kidding me? All the momentum the Outlaws have right now. Oh, Spaz has got a good Impact update for us, too. I feel like we're about to get the finish. Not quite. It was kind of interesting how at one time, there's Cornette again. All 4 of these guys were really on the same level on the card, all doing nothing. But Road Dogg and Billy got lucky. Oh, there's Chyna coming in there. Oof. I'm wondering if that's the same spot. I've heard Cornette tell a story about Chyna missing a cue one time, and he had to sit there waiting for her. And I wonder if that was it, because he sat there with the belt for a long time. Oh. Because Chyna was way out of position on the other side of the ring, and she had to come all the way over there. And that's it. I bet you that was the same match. Yeah, what a crazy match. Anywho, Spaz, I want to read this Impact update while the Outlaws celebrate. Impact has paid tribute to Mike Tenay and Don West tonight. We've heard from Sting and Angle, America's Most Wanted. Christy Hemme is ring announcing. Earl Hebner is in the crowd. That's awesome. That might be my favorite thing of all that. And Dixie is here as well. Wow. They're really pulling out all the stops for their 20-year anniversary. Right on. Appreciate that $10 and that information. Yeah, I'll want to watch some clips of that and get a little bit of a look at that. You know, it's been a crazy 20 years for them. They had a few years of success, but it's been so tumultuous throughout the whole thing. It's kind of fun to see everybody coming back together and looking back after 20 years. I remember running into, I didn't even know, because I had just gotten into my managing job at the restaurant, and I was really busy in life, and I wasn't even aware that NWA TNA was a thing. I think I might have heard about it, but I wasn't really that familiar with it. And and when Ron Killings was the champion, I ran into him with my girlfriend at the time when we were leaving a SmackDown in Greensboro, and he was outside of the arena, and I was like, what's up? And he was by himself, walked right up to him, talked to him. I said, what are you up to these days? He goes, you don't know? He goes, I'm the NWA champion. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I had no fucking idea what he was talking about. And he goes, I got the CD, man. And I was like, oh, and he hands me his CD, his album. He goes, it's all about Vince McMahon and how he screwed me over. And I'm like, cool. And he gives it to me. And I'm like, okay, thanks. And then I was like, well, it's good to meet you. Thanks for everything. Take care. And as I'm leaving, he's like, but you got $10? He basically wanted me to buy the CD. I'm like, oh, I thought you were just giving me the CD. And I'm like, And I'm like, I don't even have $10 on me. I was like, no, I'm okay, but good to see you. It was so awkward. And he tried to sell me a CD. But back then, I think he was a little bitter against, Vince and shit like that. But I didn't even know that TNA was a thing until, I think, 2003, until he told me. R-Truth was the one that told me that TNA exists. That's an interesting story right there. Who would I pick in a match between AJ Styles and Owen Hart? Destiny, don't make me pick that. Come on now. I'm going to go get a beer. All right, Triple H is here. Oh, yeah. This is one of my favorite guest commentary spots of all time. King of the Ring has had some legendary guest commentary spots. Art Donovan in 94, Owen in 96, Triple H in 98. We all have to wait for it. Triple H has a classic line in this match where he says, there's a lot of buy things I am, but lingual's not one of them. And then he goes, did I just mean to say that? Oh, great stuff. Look at Triple H. Maybe. Triple H is pretty funny. He's trying too hard to be funny, but he is kind of funny. He definitely has funniness to him. The Broken Skull American Lager is fantastic. I will much prefer this over the IPAs because the IPAs are strong and they'll fuck me up if I drink 2 or 3 of those, where these are easy to drink. It's like drinking my Stella. And I love them. The Rock and Shamrock again on pay-per-view. There are 5 big pay-per-views back then of the year. Shamrock and Rock have wrestled on the first 3 of them. That's pretty crazy. How many times has that happened? Ham sandwich. Do you really think Ken Shamrock had a ham sandwich today? Ham. Ham. 30 Rock? Come on. Who knows Ham from 30 Rock? Ham. That's my favorite 1 second of television ever. Alec Baldwin goes, you just want to bring her in because you like the way she says ham. And then it quick smash cuts to her going, ham. Fucking great. Oh, that's right. He does. I remember watching this that night feeling pretty confident that The Rock's luck was going to run out here. There's no title on the line. They're not going to give The Rock the King of the Ring on top of everything else. So they had to give it to Shamrock. That's cool. Warlord, excuse me, and British Bulldog wrestled each other on all the pay-per-views in 91. They wrestled at Royal Rumble. I mean, unless you count the match itself, which I guess you would. I know they wrestled WrestleMania 7, but there wasn't even a King of the Ring back then. Oh, yeah, and they were probably in the tag in 91, right, at SummerSlam. And then they were opposite sides at Survivor Series. So, yeah, I guess that kind of counts. Counts to me. Did Triple H just out himself? Was I talking over it? Damn it. Did I miss it? Oh, shit. Did they work Survivor Series too? I think they did. They worked in the tournament. So they worked 4 out of the 5? Because I think that had like the nightstick finish. Rock caught the nightstick, bashed Kenny in the head and won, I think. Holy shit. 4 out of the 5. 1-on-1 is pretty incredible. No tags, no nothing like that. 1-on-1. That's an interesting stat. You know, probably like Hogan and Savage in '89 would count. Technically, they were both in the Rumble. They worked WrestleMania. Tag match at SummerSlam. I cannot remember what happened at Survivor Series. Oh, I guess they didn't face it at Survivor Series. Oh, here we go. That pause is perfect. He says it, and then he goes, hey, wait a minute. Did I just mean to say that? And Ross, without even missing a beat, goes, I don't think you did, but we got to keep calling this match. Like, that's where Triple H is trying to be funny. He's trying to be witty and think on his feet. And he's not Bobby Heenan. Just like every immature idiot, he finds the word "bye" hilarious, so he tried to work it into a joke, and it backfired on him. And that's just great. Wait a minute, did I just mean to say that? Oh, my God. That's one of my favorite lines ever in guest commentary. It's just so great. You keep your mind on your business because I got a lot of my business. You don't want none of me, fuzzy top. Pfft, he spits at it. Jesus. Pie face. Fuzzy top. Jesus Christ. We got a little bit of Austin and Shamrock, but nothing, no big program. And by the way, Ken Shamrock, most dangerous man in the world, my ass. Testes, 1, 1, 2, testes. Oh my God. See, this is what I mean when I brag about how lucky I was to be the age that I am, because I was the perfect age for this type of bullshit. I was 21 years old, man. So hearing Triple H say this shit is going to crack somebody like me up. And I was just the perfect age for it. If you were like 10 or 11, the parents were probably freaking out, not letting the kids watch this stuff. I was the perfect age, man. I could do whatever I wanted. Go wherever I wanted, watch whatever I want. And I was just lucky. It's like I could not have asked, as much as I get annoyed with the business at times now, I really couldn't have asked for any better run through the business in terms of the age I am. I got to see all the good shit at all the perfect ages. That very experience is why, I was able to, that was a terrible spot. Why I was able to look at John Cena in a different way than folks younger lashing out at him and hating him because they're thirsty for other stuff. I already got all that other stuff. So, and I'd grown wiser and older. And I was like, all right, everybody needs to chill on him. I was like, I think your anger is misdirected, He's hopping. He's skipping. I was so impressed, man, with the Iron Man match on Judgment Day that we reviewed on Friday. I had just forgotten how good that match was, man. My mind and body might not want to admit it, but it's a better match than WrestleMania 12, Bret and Shawn. It really is. It was way more exciting. Every bit as dramatic. And a hell of a lot more falls. Blood, brawling. Did they let AJ? Oh, thanks, WWE. I don't know why I'm thanking those idiots, but what did he thank? He thanked WWE in his. Was that in the? Was that a condition? It probably was. You have to thank us. You have to publicly thank us. It probably was, but either way, that's cool. That would have been such a petty thing for WWE not to let him do. That really makes me happy. That's all three companies really coming together. I mean, you had AEW and WWE representation on their anniversary show. I should have ordered the pay-per-view and watched that. That makes me very happy. Good. Let's see if there's some... Oh, there it is right there. I was about to say, I was going to go to Twitter right now and look for a video or a still image of it, and... You two of you have already tagged me in it. Great. Thank you. Deshaun, thank you. That's really awesome. God, AJ's got that gaff on his head. That's awesome. Holy shit. Zach, you made a Southern mic work out of me with a cowboy hat and shit. It would only be about a year after this where Triple H would have that sit down with Jim Ross where he would have that cerebral assassin game promo that kind of turned him into that character officially, bitching about the old days and the trouble he got in for the curtain call and all that stuff. I remember JR's response to that. He goes, that was 4 years ago. I'm like, it was 3 years ago. Jim Ross. Not 4. I'm not sure about AJ in the Impact Hall of Fame. I mean, he should be, but I don't know if they did that or not. I don't know. I'm surprised Impact even has a Hall of Fame. It's got to be so hard to do that. Theirs has got to be even more discombobulated than WWE. You can only put in who you have access to or who will grant you access to. Oh, yeah, Shamrock coming back hard on Rock. Funny thing is, I'm not even totally sure why. I mean, I understand the DX Nation feud, but I'm surprised having Triple H on guest commentary for the finals of the King of the Ring is something they'd do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I had forgot about Mickey being in the Rumble. So WWE and Impact, they're already cool. WWE does not view them as a threat anymore, so I think they're more open to doing stuff with them. And letting Mickie come out at the Rumble to her song and her title belt was great. So I guess it's not that surprising that AJ Styles made an appearance there. Ooh, almost beat him with a Northern Lights. That would have been awesome. Yeah, Owen joining the Nation was a decision. I thought it made an okay amount of sense for Owen. I mean, he seemed to be thriving well in the Hart Foundation, and his family is gone. He was the Black Heart, the lone survivor, the sole survivor. He was the only guy. He was wandering. Even when he turned heel originally, he had Neidhart with him. He always had support, and he was looking for support. He found a new faction, and he went to the one that made the most sense. It wouldn't have made any sense to go to DX with all of his history with Triple H. Nation was probably the next biggest, strongest group of guys. So when you look at it from that standpoint, I think it made a lot of sense. But it was a weird addition because he kind of turned heel unexpectedly and joined him. I thought he was a funny member of the Nation. I thought he brought an extra funny dynamic, especially when you needed to have somebody acting ridiculous in a moment. He was a perfect guy. Oh, there we go. He's got him. There's the ankle lock. Oh, he's screaming like a girl. Like a broad. Shut up, Triple H. And that's it. Boy, I wish it would have been that easy. All those other times you had matches with him when the Intercontinental Championship was on the line. I mean, Ken Shamrock was a legit King of the Ring. I mean, he was a guy that you definitely should have win something like this. I do have a copy of King of the Ring 98. I have every King of the Ring except 93. And I couldn't find 98 either. And finally, I did find it. My only copy of it is one of these like shitty re-release copies that came in one of these like 5-packs of the Classic 5. So I do have it, but I don't have the original WWF home video of this. I still need to get my hands on King of the Ring 93. I have all the other ones. Yeah, Triple H was a good King of the Ring too. But Shamrock was just such a dominant competitor and feared and legit. There's like a guy like Shamrock with legit experience. A guy like that should thrive better in like just random matches, like tournament matches when you don't necessarily know who your opponent's going to be, instead of a program or an angle where you subject yourself to all sorts of interference and fucked up chicanery and stuff like that. So if they just put him in there with dudes and he doesn't have really an issue, maybe that lessens the risk of people running in and trying to cost him the match. Oh, this is it, huh? So we're going to do the Hell in a Cell now, and then, so how many minutes? Oh, yeah, we got an hour left, so it's this one, and then it's Austin and Kane. Okay. So we get to relive this. So how many times do you think you've seen what we're about to see here? How many times in your life, forget about the whole match. Not everybody's seen the whole match a million times, but how many physical times in your head have you seen the clip of Mick Foley diving off? Between the clips and video packages and YouTube stuff and anything, Twitter and social media and TikTok and countless replays on WWE documentaries and DVDs and TV and everything. We've probably all seen it 10,000 times or more. 10,000, I bet you. It's crazy. Now, the story back then is that Undertaker kind of had a bum ankle. And the Shawn Undertaker match was so good, they were worried that this one might suck. Since Foley is not Shawn and Taker is not 100%, it's going to be really tough to live up. And I guess that's where the idea came from, that Foley would do something insane. He's stated in the past that Terry Funk was the one to suggest starting the match up top on the roof. What if you start the match on top of the cage? I can't do Terry Funk. And the fucking cage was so sketchy. It wasn't like now where the thing is a fortress. Back then, it was like these 300-pound dudes are climbing on it, and the support ties are snapping off. I'm afraid of heights as it is, and you're walking basically on a transparent platform up there. I'd be shitting myself. And taking bumps on it, taking suplexes on it, pile drivers on it. I mean, they had to be really, really sure that that thing is safe and secure. I mean, it would just be 1 year later that Owen would have a terrible accident. I'm surprised that this thing was strong enough and it didn't give way during a pile driver and Foley came right down on his head and instantly killed. And Foley, for a guy like him, the shape that he's in, to be able to climb up that like that, I mean, I could do that, but it would be not like the easiest thing in the world at my age these days. Foley, with that size and that weight he's carrying, giant wrestling boots on, he's able to climb a fence like that. That's crazy. I mean, I'm sure the people who built that, you know, were instructed to make sure it's strong enough, and I'm sure it was tested. What always trips me out is when you go to a big arena like this and you see all the shit that's like hanging, you know, the lights and if you go to a basketball game and that big centerpiece, it's all hung by like cables. And it scares me shitless. I'm like, what if one just fell on people, you know? What if the cable snapped? I mean, that shit is heavy as hell. This shit that they hang and everything, and it's all done by this cable system, just hanging from the roof. Oh my God, he's really close to those pyros. Be careful, Taker. In about 10 years, something real sucky's going to happen to you. Yeah, and it's a mesh cage, and that would just scare me shitless just from a heights perspective. You see those like videos of people freaking out on like transparent or like glass bridges or whatever, and they like start falling down. They can't like move, and they're just paralyzed with fear. Like I wouldn't want to look down on that and see that down there. God, that's a great shot, isn't it? That's a great camera shot. Mankind looks like a legit monster. Yeah, and you could clearly see those zip ties or whatever they were snapping off. And I'm like, why are you having zip ties on there? These guys have a combined weight of about 650 pounds. Wow. Oh, wow. I'm not even sure if they had the footholes at the time. You would see as the years would progress, the cage would evolve, and you'd see the foothole, big giant holes so the guys could climb up. But I'm not even sure if the footholes were there yet. And these guys were just regular climbing up. Taker trying to get up there. He's there. And plus, Taker had to do that with a bum ankle. Foley was actually able to throw that chair up there, which is pretty impressive. Ugh. Like, do they know in Gorilla what's going to happen? Like, that's a good overhead shot, too. Like, everything's all bent. Look at that shit, man. Oh, my God. Yeah. These things are snapping off. God. That is just janky as fuck. Look at that thing. Oh, here we go. This is the spot. That blew my mind to watch live on my 72-hour-old big screen TV that I had just purchased and went from a 19-inch to a 50-inch 3 days before this pay-per-view airs. And I get to watch Foley take that bump. I wasn't even sure. I thought it might have been a shoot. I thought that Undertaker might have really tried to kill him. I thought about the possibility of a table bump from the cage prior to the match, but I didn't think it was possible. I said, you can't take that bump. The Shawn bump was crazy enough, where he just took it from halfway up the cell onto a table. I thought that was about as crazy as you could get. But not a full-blown Peter Pan dive from the top. Come on, Wendy. Oh, my God. He's under the table. There's Funk. I mean, he was able to land, I guess, as perfectly as you can. But you saw even when he hit the guardrail shot back a few feet. I couldn't imagine having seats in that front row. They should bring these people on TV and interview them. Nowadays, if it were to happen, somebody on there at the front row would have had a video of that shit, of Foley flying through the air towards him. Taker's just standing up there. What happens now? So, yeah, I think on this bump was a shoulder dislocation, I believe, which I don't understand how he climbs back up. What a bump. I mean, he flew through the air. My buddy who was watching this show with me, at the end of the night, his dad was coming to pick him up to take him home. And we had to go out to the car and get him and tell him to come inside. And I queued up the tape because I tape every pay-per-view and rewound it and showed him that bump. And he was like a moderate. He understood wrestling a little bit. I don't think he was a huge fan, though. And he was just like, God damn. Like, it was the craziest thing. We could not believe it. That exceeded any kind of wrestling bump that I'd ever thought was even possible by like times 100. I mean, I knew they were pushing the envelope. I knew they were getting crazier and crazier, but that was just beyond anything I thought was possible. I mean, how do you outdo that? So they're raising the cage with Taker up there. So nobody knows what the hell's going on here. I definitely remember thinking the match was over. I didn't think, or if it wasn't over, I just thought Foley would get in the ring and take a tombstone or something. But I felt like that was going to be it. I had no idea there was going to be another bump, followed by thumbtacks, followed by tooths and noses. My God. Vince is out there with that big wart on his face. Yeah, at least they crash padded Shane up for all of his big bumps. Yeah, there's Taker up there at the top. That's an iconic shot. While they're rolling Mankind out of here, I'll be right back. Just wanted to make sure I still had a phone, and I do. I just left it in the shitter, you know, it happens. Who doesn't do that, right? Oh, nice. Thanks for the tag in that, Deshaun. There's an entire video available of AJ's message. About 2 minutes long. Cool. I will look at that immediately tonight. All right, so Foley pulled away a bit here in the aisleway, and I think this is where he gets up. And, like, Taker knows because you can see how slowly he's climbing down. He could get down way quicker than... Oh, there's Dave Hebner. It's Dave Hebner and Timmy White together. How about that? And he's got a smile on his face. And he's going back up there, so he's dislocated his shoulder. So they must have cued in Undertaker. Like, I don't know if this was the plan all along to take the one bump and the other bump, but Taker definitely knew that Foley was coming back up there. Oh, my God, he's got the chair. Foley is somehow back up there. How he climbed up there, I have no idea. It's not like he works out and he's super strong. He must have been adrenaline. Okay, this bump is crazy. Foley has always claimed that that was not intended, that the cage broke through. I, as a fan, believe that's untrue. I believe that was a planned spot. He knew right row to throw him. The cage didn't even... It just gave way like butter. He just sliced right through it. It didn't even, like, stop and stall, and then he, like, rolled off of it, kind of like how they almost caved through the other side. To fall through it like that would have meant one entire side would have not had to been attached. That would have been a huge omission or a huge mistake. I don't think that it would have... I just don't think it would have broken through that way. But I could be wrong. I've just always been skeptical, I should say, about that. There's Funk getting choke slammed, and he shakes his ass out of his shoes. Funk twitching around. Literally choke slammed out of his shoes. And plus, another reason why I think that was a planned spot is, do you see how quick the doctor was in? He was in instantly. Like, it was almost like he was, not that he wouldn't be in instantly anyway. But now by this point, I had to buy a new couch because I was shitting my pants. I was flabbergasted. You got to understand all the things that, as a wrestling fan, what you would have seen up until that point prior to 98. As a fan my age, what I have seen, nothing even closely resembles that at all. It was almost like surreal. I'm like, this can't be fucking real. This must be special effects or something like that. I'm like, wrestlers don't take bumps like that. And Foley, if you look under his, another thing I always wondered about, under his shirt, it just looks a little bit pink under there. I wonder if it looked like he had some blood. I mean, there's some blood on his face, and that tooth in his nose. And I remember we didn't really quite understand what that was. Our first instinct, I don't think, was to think that was a tooth. There's Tim White right in the middle of it. Yeah, the tooth, the bloody mouth and the tooth came from the chair. that came down and whacked him, apparently. But the way he fell through that cage, to me, looked like that was the intended plan. But to even get to that point, you have to assume you're going to survive the first bump. And you can see the pain on Foley's face. He can't even lift the fucking stairs. Like, he looks legit hurt. Like, Foley looks like he's in severe pain. I hope that was his other shoulder. God. Oh, my God. I really hope that's his other one. Ugh. It's just painful to watch this. Oh, you thought it was attacking us? Well, they haven't even pulled the tacks out yet. The gnarliest one was when Triple H gave him the pedigree on the tacks at the Royal Rumble. That might have been the craziest thumbtack bump I think I've ever seen. Face first. Oh, my God. He breaks and enters. Oh, big dive by Taker. He missed. So Mankind actually does make this a fight, even though he... Poor Mick. You just feel like you wish this match would be over so he could get the hell out of there and seek medical attention. I mean, Foley is so limited here. Undertaker basically busted himself open, and now Foley's trying to ram him a bit. It's hard to top Foley's craziness when it comes to what he's willing to do in a wrestling match. Not that Darby and Jeff aren't willing to do a lot as well. Foley has just gone that extra level. Oh, I'm sure he didn't remember anything after this. Ugh. I'm grateful and amazed that Foley is aware of managing his brain and trying to check himself every now and then, and he still seems to have his faculties, and how he's been able to take that type of abuse and not have some serious CTE yet is a miracle. Oh, thanks. Every now and then I miss one. Glenn, did I diss Glenn? Jesus. Oh. I thought you said I missed a super chat from Glenn. I think you think I'm Glenn. Glenn Morgan missed one from Crow Weeper. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I was invested in the Hell in the Cell. So sorry I missed that. Thanks for the reminder. And appreciate the super chat. Would you say that the Undertaker-Kane saga is the best WWE storyline ever? I don't think so. Kind of for some of the reasons that I mentioned earlier when I was talking about that. I thought the original story of Undertaker accidentally setting fire to the house, burning it down, killing his brother, living his whole life with that guilt to find out the brother lived, to find out as an adult the brother lived, and now he's coming after you for revenge. To me, there was so much there in that story. It didn't need to go in the directions of Paul Bearer becoming the dad, and then Undertaker did it on purpose and turned heel, and then you take a choke slam into the corpses of your parents. So, here come the thumbtacks. So I'd probably go Austin McMahon. Although Austin McMahon went in crazy directions too. But I'm not sure if it's the greatest ever. It's one of the best. Thumbtacks are out. I don't think we had seen thumbtacks yet in WWE at this point. I don't recall. Oh, no. Uh-oh, here we go. Nope. I think Foley takes a couple of bumps on this thing. Undertaker's busted open pretty bad as well. I couldn't imagine seeing something like this as a 10-year-old. That's got to be a fucking trip. Around age 10, I saw, I guess I was a little older, but I saw the Ricky, no, yeah, before age 10, right around the same age. I saw Ricky Steamboat get his throat crushed by the bell by Randy Savage. And to me, that was the most violent thing I'd ever seen, you know, in WWE, I should say. Uh-oh, here we go. What? This is a weird bump here. And Foley rolls through them on purpose just to add for no reason. So I feel like they kind of didn't do the first bump very well, but they would make up for it. So he's already covered in these things. Yeah, so he's bleeding underneath his shirt. So he must have cut himself on the table coming down or something. Because he's had that blood. I never really noticed that before. Ugh. Jesus Christ. They're all on his ass. Look at his arm is just, oh my God, he is just a mess. And now it's tombstone time. Finally. Oh, and then he's laying in them. Ugh. Fucking nuts. Can you imagine being in the front row for that bullshit? Oh my God. Couldn't even imagine. Next year will be the 25th anniversary of this show. Just nuts. Crazy. Get Foley some fucking help. I mean, that made him a legend. Foley was already pretty legendary with the Smark audience, with us. We all loved Cactus Jack. I had already gotten my hands on a ton of his Japan stuff. I always liked him in WCW. And finally, just 7 months after this, whatever it was, he'd be champ. Taker, did I use thumbtacks? Look at your arm. Well, I mean, at least he didn't feel this, or, I mean, he probably felt it, but if he's so fucking out of it, after the 2 cage bumps he took, and, ugh, poor Foley. There's Dave Hebner again. Get him out of there. I wonder what he's telling Kyoto right there. He's just probably mumbling gibberish. It's like, dude, today I had the best roast beef sandwich. So good. Horseradish, Dijon cream sauce, toasted rye bread, or sourdough or something like that. Oh, the slow-mo of that is just crazy. You could have listened to an entire Beatles song in the time it took him to float from the top of this cell to the floor. Ugh. Well, if you ever want to know what the exact time code is on the Hell in the Cell match and the cage bumps, it's right around the 2-hour mark. Oh, good for Jordan Grace. I'm so happy for her. Thanks for that super chat there, Spaz. Appreciate 10 more from you. Jordan Grace makes history, the new Knockouts champion, defeating Chelsea Green, Tasha Steelz Mia Yim, Deonna Purrazzo in the first ever Queen of the Mountain match. I love Jordynne Grace. I'm so happy for her. That's great. Good for her. Has she been champ yet? Has she been Knockouts champ yet? Oh, thanks for that, Deshaun. Appreciate the $2. Check my Twitter for the spot of the night. Do I want to see that? Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, they're helping Foley out. Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo are about to... Big table bump. Yikes. Oh, yeah, thank you to Deshaun and thank you to Ryan Adams. Both. They took Foley off of the stretcher. They rolled him on it, and now they're just carrying him out. Sergeant Slaughter and Terry Funk. Mike Chioda, the doctors, Jack Doan's out there, Timmy, Tony Gurria. That little doctor, Francois, the other doctor, whatever his name is. Okay, Grace has won the title before. Good. All right, good. She's just somebody that I would think WWE would have their eye on. She just has a WWE look. I think the only thing maybe working against her is her height, but physically she just looks spectacular. What's wrong with you? He just poked Jim Ross with the tack. I think that's hilarious. Here we go. This is actually one of my favorite climaxes to a WWE title match ever. There's just something about the announcement, the pause that Howard Finkel makes when he's about to announce the new champion, and the reaction of the crowd, and Lawler screaming out like, holy shit, or whoa, or whatever. It was just all like perfect. Austin like throwing the chair in anger, and then we like fade to black. Great shit. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Kane beats Undertaker. That's how he got the title shot against Austin. Wow, they're in Chicago there at the Allstate. Yeah, I couldn't remember how Kane even got the title shot. Oh, there's that segment where Vince is wearing a tux where I always said he looked like Michael Buffer. Yeah, that's right. You're right, WWE fan. Appreciate the 5 more. Foley will be back out here. He'll hobble his ass out here to get involved in the Kane-Austin match. Oh, wow. That Tux segment was on your 10th birthday? I barely remember what that was about. I think it was like Vince just giving him an award to himself or something. Mr. McMahon. Oh. Foley baseball batted right in the head. Look, Austin climbing up there like a boss. Oh, that's such a good shot. That is such an iconic shot of that Hell in the Cell on Raw with Austin walking on it. Yeah, probably after the event is over, Foley's like, when's my match? Am I on next? In my mind, I remember as a fan thinking about this match and saying, okay, how are they going to make Kane lose? To me, Kane winning wasn't an option. I just didn't think that it was. Generally, at this time, most of the time, you're not going to see the champion drop the belt right after winning it at WrestleMania. So I was like, well, he's got to win somehow or at least retain the title. So what do? And if I remember, they kind of even swerve us. And I said, you know, maybe I could understand if Kane, same thing with the Inferno match, you know, if Kane wears, you know, both sleeves, he's got, you know, one exposed arm. So if they tried to coat him in something where he could set his whole body on fire, he would have to be in a full body suit. And I remember having that thought process. And I believe that when Kane comes out here, he actually is in a full body suit. So we thought, as we were watching the pay-per-view, that that's it. Oh, that's it. He's covered up completely. So that means he's going to set himself on fire, which means he's going to lose. So it was one of the few times that I was like swerved pretty hard. And I've said before, time and time again, over the years, that my favorite Raw of all time was the Raw after this show in the Gund Arena when Austin won the title back from Kane. That main event, it was such a crazy jacked crowd. I mean, it was ECW one night stand level intensity, you know, with Cena coming out. It was crazy, even more so. And it's one of the best opening segments of Raw when Austin convinces Kane to wrestle him. And Kane finally mans up and just kind of nods at the end and gets a big pop. And then they go to the main event and Austin hits the stunner and wins and the crowd just fucking explodes. My favorite Raw of all time. And I watched that the very next night with on my big screen TV, but I was alone because now it was a Monday night and the people I usually watch pay-per-views with have school or work or whatever the fuck. So I was at home alone with my big screen TV watching this. And when Austin won, I pumped up the volume. And even on the VHS tape that I recorded this on, if you watch it back, you can hear the volume increase because I'm actually turning the volume up really, really high on the TV. It's hilarious. And I was like, holy shit, he fucking won the title back. And again, that was something you just didn't see very often. You saw it in 97. We saw a title change hands the very next night and shit, but it was still kind of new. And this one was so much fun because Austin was so over. And I was relieved because I was like, fuck, he just won the title. I was glad that I was relieved to learn that it was a one-night thing. So, yeah, this is one of my fondest memories of the Attitude Era, is this King of the Ring weekend. In the shitty little apartment I used to live in with this gigantic TV in it. Hell yeah, David. Those things were heavy as fuck. Oh, yeah, that's right. Austin, I think he had staph infection or something going on in his elbow. Something happened to him. And he was wrapped up hard. And here we go. Sometimes in my head, I think of this match as a Hell in the Cell match because they wind up lowering the cell and the finish happens inside the cell. I always forget that it's a regular match. And it's a first blood match. It's like it's going to be really hard for him to be bleeding when his entire fucking body is covered with a mask and a bodysuit. Oh, yeah, Jim Ross just was talking about his... I think it's Paul Bearer that winds up lowering the cell at some point, whenever that happens. Earl Hebner's our referee for this. Oof. So, yeah, even Lawler's pointing out the gear change for Kane. Bound for Glory, Saturday, October 8th. Good to know. Kane over the top. You have to, I don't know if many of you will ever appreciate or understand, like, going to a show with no phone. You know, your attention is completely focused. I mean, I was at Double or Nothing. I spent a lot of time, you know, videoing shit and not screaming. I mean, I was very excited for CM Punk, but I don't think I was outwardly yelling or anything. I was just, like, enjoying it. So crowds are so different now. But back in the day, everything had your 100% attention. Here comes the Cell. And that really helped, the crowds being so jacked. Because not everyone's distracted. So the Cell is coming down. Yeah, 97, they did the same thing in early 97 with the Final Four fiasco when Shawn lost a smile. So the title was on 3 different men within 4 days, with Shawn handing it over on Thursday, Bret winning it on Sunday, and Sid winning on a Monday. Wow. Oh, God. Who is the person that almost got impaled by the Cell? It's not Austin, is it? Who's the person where the Cell was coming down and it had the spike and they got out of the way just in time? Jesus, he's going to try to choke him. Get out of there. Oh, thanks for another $5 Super Chat update there, Spaz, on the Slammiversary happenings. Brian has been reffing a lot tonight. Even Earl got to jump the rail on in his own stripes to count the pin and give Team Impact Originals their win. That's awesome. See, it sounds like they're putting on a fun show. And they're doing shit for people who are fans of TNA and Impact and know its history and know its stars. And that's great. I'm really glad. I know I should give Impact a chance. It's just I don't have enough time to. If I had enough subscribers and made enough money to make this a full-time job, I would watch everything. So tell your friends. Make sure you try to help grow our audience here. We got at least triple what we're doing here to make that a reality. So help a brother out. Then I'll start talking about Impact more. But otherwise, I got that annoying job. Those annoying careers, man, they get in the way of shit. Oh, Extreme Rules, what, is also on October 8th? Are we going to get head-to-head pay-per-views here? Why would Impact choose to do that? Oof. Crack. Oh, here comes the cage moving up, and Kane is stuck in there. Get out of there, Yankum. What in the hell is going on? This was such an unconventional fucking King of the Ring. When you think about how King of the Ring started, I'm like, boy, we've come a long way. Kane is hanging on that. You want to get to... Oh. Whoa, Jesus. Kane fucking gymnastics in here. Getting on the bar. Balance beam is up next. Okay, so we got Extreme Rules and Bound for Glory. Head to head. May the best man win. PLE versus PPV. They are way out in the entranceway now. I mean, Austin should have realistically wrestled in, like, you know, like during street fights, you know, the wrestlers will come out, like what Shawn wore at SummerSlam, like jeans and a tank top or something. He should come out a little bit more protected. Because, I mean, by the description of the rules, if he gets a cut on his arm, Kane is the new WWE champion. And Kane's wearing a goddamn onesie. Austin up the stage. It's a little-ass ramp. That's an independent wrestling ramp right there. That is the ramp you see in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel for an indie show with Heidenreich and Doink main eventing. Was it a Cracker Barrel or was it a Walmart or was it a Denny's? What was the Doink Heidenreich match? Oh, suplex to Austin on an incline. Naomi looking happy as ever on her Instagram. Good for her. She's probably like, I don't have to work for these fools anymore. That whole Bret Austin saga, that street fight when Bret wrestled in jeans in '97, that was such a perfect example of what made WWE better than WCW at the time. Even though WCW was dominating the ratings, that was the type of stuff I always thought they were incapable of doing. I was doing just such a great, well-done angle like that with these two, and a brilliant way to write Bret off TV for a short time. Spanned throughout the night like a long arcing storyline or angle that climaxed at the end of the night. I told you we're going straight to hell. So good. Made you believe there was real hatred there when these guys probably had more respect for each other than anyone in history. All right, we are back in the ring. Cage is halfway. This is half in the cell match is what this is. So the cell is mostly up, but halfway up. I mean, Austin, like, why didn't you just think ahead? Why didn't you, like... I mean, I know you don't want to be bringing out knives and shit, but go get something sharp and just cut Kane's arm or leg or something. Snap off a piece of the chair and then just start whacking and tearing away at his gear until you break through it. You probably can't even tell he's bleeding because he's wearing red. Yeah, earlier when I said we were assuming that this match was going to be a Kane loss because of the onesie, it can also be used as a huge disadvantage in the first blood match as well. I was always thinking about more of the finish and lighting yourself on fire than the blood part, but this really does seem unfair. Ooh, fan to the face. And you wonder why Austin would even agree to this match. I mean, you're just starting off with a monumental disadvantage, and I don't know why you would do that. Oh. Earl took a bump. Down he goes. Yeah, Kurt and Bret would be easily, you could get like 93, 94 Bret in there with 02 to 05 angle or something, or any angle, 2000 angle, whatever year angle you want. It would just be so good. Angle would make Bret look really good too. He'd be selling shit like crazy. Eating those great Bret punches. Look at Vince and Sable. It's a skybox. It can only hold Vince, Sable, and his mole, or his wart, or whatever that growth deformity pus-oozing thing is on Vince's face. Oh, man, do I think Cena is going to be putting the Money in the Bank ladder match? I would not do that if I was WWE. I think at this point they need to count their blessings that the fans are accepting of Cena at this point because he's not winning all the time and that shit. I can see WWE making that decision. I just think it would be a bad one. I just bring Cena back, work with Theory, beat him for the U.S. title, bring back the U.S. title open challenge for fun. Because if he's not going to come back for a full-time run, winning Money in the Bank would be hard to do. But if he is coming back full-time, or at least for the next 6 months, you could do whatever you want. But John Cena, I don't think, is going to have to work too hard to get title shots if he wants them. Here's Mankind is here. I can't believe they let him go out there after this. Jesus. And he was okay, too, there. He took a stunner. Foley. Ooh, low blow to Kane. Stunner to Kane. Yeah, I'm sure. Now here comes Undertaker hobbling out, too. In his workout clothes. Okay, now he's coming in the ring. Now this is that crazy spot here. Oh. I mean, he did catch Austin pretty hard in the face, it looked like, with the chair. Legit. Austin's bleeding now, though. And Foley takes one more punch. Finally, he's out of the cage. Ugh. And this is one of the best parts of any pay-per-view to me. Austin is bleeding like crazy. And Earl gets tossed back in the ring. And I still remember being in denial at this point. Here we are. Austin's busted wide open. And I'm like, what are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this? How's Austin going to walk out of this with the title? I was like, oh, they're going to burn the referee. Okay. Ooh. God, he pouring that Mountain Dew all over Earl. Chair shot to Taker from Kane. And Austin's fighting back, covered in blood, fighting back hard on Kane. It's first blood. He's bleeding. Earl is still coming too, so he doesn't see Austin with the blood. This is one of my favorite moments ever. Oh. Chair shot to Kane's head. And there's Earl. It's so good. And he calls for the bell. I love this.
The winner of this bout, and new
I was speechless. I was like, no, they're going to restart the match or something. Like, no, somebody's got to run out and say, no, Undertaker hit Austin. And then they cut to Vince with Sable. Vince, Sable, and the Mole. He's so happy he got the belt off of Austin. You get the watermark, fade to black, show over. And we were flabbergasted. I mean, if it wasn't crazy enough to see what Foley did earlier, now you have to think about, holy shit, Austin just dropped the belt in one of the biggest upsets, I think, ever. And it was a lot to digest. I mean, it was nuts. So it was quite the shocker. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they would go in that direction. But luckily, like I said, the very next night would be my favorite WWE Raw of all time, the night after King of the Ring, when Austin would win the title back in Cleveland. And they had that great opening segment where they set the match up where Kane finally agreed to the rematch after they tried to stall. And then Austin stunning him, pinning him, winning the title, with the crowd going literally apeshit, with Austin retaining the title, but at the same time setting up the highway to hell by stunning Undertaker at the end of that. It's great. So if you want to watch some good shit tonight and you're struggling for something to watch and you've already watched Slammiversary, check out the WWE Raw from the night after King of the Ring 98. It's fun as hell. So anyway, thanks for being here. I really appreciate there being like a somewhat respectable audience, even though we were going up against a pretty fun Impact Slammiversary pay-per-view from what we understand. I appreciate everybody, including Spaz Phoenix here with the $2, telling us Josh Alexander is defeated Eric Young and still Impact champion. Spaz has been the MVP tonight. He's been chiming in a lot with Super Chats, updating us on Slammiversary and some of the appearances and some of the results and the finishes and the title changes. Really, really appreciate that, Spaz, and everybody else who has been letting us know what's been going on at Slammiversary and all the very cool tags I already got with the big Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo spot and the AJ Styles message to Slammiversary. That all looks very cool. I appreciate it. We're going to play tomorrow by ear. I had initially not planned on doing a Raw review tomorrow. I probably am still not going to do one. However, we'll see how tomorrow goes. If I got nothing else going on, maybe we'll pop up here and talk about Raw because Elias is supposed to be returning. With as depleted as WWE's roster right now is with injuries and Money in the Bank coming up, and all we're really dealing with is qualifying matches for that, and there's no real crazy, juicy storylines going on right now. I don't even know if I want to watch Raw tomorrow, but I will see how it goes. We might be up here, so keep that in mind, which is why it's very important to be a subscriber. So anyway, you guys take care. Thanks again, as always, for being here. And I will talk to you this week, either tomorrow or at the very latest on Wednesday